What would you do if your phone rang at exactly 2:17 in the morning and the caller ID showed Dad? There's only one problem. Your father died 20 years ago. Daniel stared at the glowing screen. His hands began to tremble. His heart pounded so loudly, he could barely breathe. This can't be real, he whispered. He remembered everything. The rain, the funeral, the black clothes, his mother's tears. He was only 8 years old when he said goodbye to his father forever. Yet here it was, his father's name, shining on his phone. For a moment, he thought about ignoring it, but something deep inside him told him to answer. With shaking fingers, he pressed the green button. Hello. Silence. A long, cold, terrifying silence. Then, a familiar voice spoke. Daniel. If you're hearing this, it means I finally reached you. Daniel froze. Every hair on his body stood up. That voice. It wasn't similar to his father's. It was his father's. His breathing became heavy. His mind searched for an explanation. A prank. A recording. A dream. Anything. Except the impossible. Then the voice said something that changed his life forever. Go back to our old house. Behind the third wooden beam in the attic, you'll find the truth I've been hiding for 20 years. The call ended. Daniel looked at the dark screen. His reflection stared back at him. And for the first time in his life, he wasn't afraid of ghosts. He was afraid of discovering the truth. Daniel couldn't sleep. The words echoed through his mind. Behind the third wooden beam, you'll find the truth. The next morning, he drove 3 hours to the abandoned house where he had grown up. Nothing had changed. The paint was peeling. The windows were cracked. The old swing in the backyard moved gently, even though there was no wind. As he stepped inside, the wooden floor creaked beneath his feet. Every corner held a memory. His father's laughter. His mother's warm smile. A family, frozen in time. He climbed the narrow stairs to the attic. Dust floated through the beams of sunlight. His flashlight swept across the ceiling. 1 beam. 2. 3. He reached behind the third beam. His fingers touched cold metal. A small rusted box. His heartbeat grew louder. Inside were old photographs, a gold pocket watch, and a sealed envelope. Across the front were 6 words. For Daniel, when he is ready. His hands trembled as he opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter. My son, if you are reading this, someone finally made the call. Daniel's eyes widened. How could his father have known? The letter continued. There are truths too dangerous to tell a child. If I told you while I was alive, you would never have believed me. But now, you must listen carefully. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from downstairs. Daniel jumped. Someone had entered the house. Slow, heavy footsteps climbed the stairs. 1 step, then another, then another. Daniel held his breath. The footsteps stopped outside the attic door. Silence. The old wooden door slowly began to open. The attic door opened. Slowly. Every second felt like an hour. Daniel tightened his grip on the flashlight. His heart pounded so hard he thought it would burst from his chest. Then, an old man stepped inside. His gray beard was long. His clothes were soaked from the rain. His eyes looked strangely familiar. The man smiled. I wondered how long it would take you. Daniel stepped back. Who are you? The old man looked at the letter in Daniel's hand. So he finally reached you. Daniel's voice trembled. How do you know my father? The man's smile disappeared. Because I was there, the night he died. Daniel froze. No, the police said it was a car accident. The old man slowly shook his head. That's what they wanted everyone to believe. A cold chill ran through Daniel's body. What are you talking about? The old man walked toward the dusty window. He stared into the rain. Your father wasn't running away from danger. He was trying to protect you. Daniel couldn't breathe. The old man continued. 20 years ago, your father discovered something. Something powerful people were willing to kill for. He collected proof. He hid it. And before they could find him, they silenced him. Daniel's hands began to shake. No. This can't be true. The old man pointed toward the rusty box. Look underneath. Daniel lifted the box. Hidden beneath its false bottom was a tiny black key. The old man's eyes filled with sadness. That key opens locker number 317 at the old train station. Everything your father risked his life to protect is waiting there. Before Daniel could ask another question, the old man looked out the window. They found you. What? Black SUVs pulled into the driveway. Car doors slammed shut. Men in dark suits stepped out. Each one carried a flashlight. Daniel's heart raced. Who are they? The old man whispered. The same people who took your father. A loud voice echoed from downstairs. Daniel, we know you're inside. Come out. And nobody gets hurt. Daniel looked back at the old man. But he was gone. The attic was empty. Only the sound of rain remained. Daniel looked around in disbelief. Had the old man ever been there? Or had he vanished? Just like his father? Then the attic window shattered. Glass exploded across the floor. A hand reached through the broken window, trying to grab him. The hand reached through the shattered window. Daniel stumbled backward. The flashlight slipped from his fingers and hit the floor. Darkness swallowed the attic. Only the sound of rain and heavy breathing filled the room. Another crash. The man forced himself through the broken window. He wore black clothes, a small earpiece, no expression. Give us the key, he demanded. Daniel's heart raced. I don't know what you're talking about. The stranger stepped closer. We've searched for that key for 20 years. You can hand it over. Or end up exactly like your father. For a moment, Daniel froze. Then instinct took over. He grabbed the rusty box and threw it at the man. The stranger staggered. Daniel sprinted past him, down the attic stairs, across the hallway. Behind him came shouting. Stop him. The old wooden staircase shook under their feet. Daniel burst through the front door. Rain soaked his clothes instantly. He jumped into his car. The engine struggled, then roared to life. Headlights flashed behind him. The black SUVs gave chase. The narrow country road became a race for survival. 90 kilometers an hour. 100. 120. The SUVs stayed close. One rammed the back of Daniel's car. The steering wheel jerked violently. His tires nearly left the road. Then, his father's pocket watch, resting on the passenger seat, suddenly opened by itself. Inside, Daniel noticed something he had never seen before. Tiny engraved numbers. 317, 11, 24. Locker 317. Code 1124. His father had hidden the combination inside the watch all along. Daniel smiled for the first time. You planned everything. A bridge appeared ahead. Without thinking, he swerved onto an old service road beneath it. The SUVs sped past. They hadn't seen him turn. For several minutes, Daniel sat in silence. Rain drummed against the windshield. He finally looked at the key in his hand. So this is what Dad died protecting. The next morning, he arrived at the abandoned train station. Most lockers had rusted shut years ago. At the end of the hallway, he found it. Locker 317. His hands trembled. He inserted the key. It turned smoothly. Then he entered the code. 1124. The lock clicked. The metal door slowly opened. Inside, there wasn't money. There weren't jewels. There wasn't gold. There was only a small video camera, several hard drives, and another envelope. On the front, in his father's handwriting, were the words that made Daniel's eyes fill with tears. If you made it this far, I'm already proud of you. He carefully opened the envelope and unfolded the final letter. The first sentence changed everything. The greatest secret isn't what I discovered. It's who betrayed me. Daniel stopped breathing. At the bottom of the page, one name was written. It was someone he had trusted for his entire life. Daniel's hands trembled. He stared at the name written at the bottom of the letter. Michael Carter. His godfather. The man who had raised him after his father's death. The man who had comforted his mother. The man Daniel trusted more than anyone. No. Daniel whispered. This has to be a mistake. His father's letter continued. If you're reading this, Michael has probably spent years pretending to protect you. He wasn't my friend anymore. He sold information to people who wanted my research. When I refused, they decided I had to disappear. Daniel's chest tightened. Every childhood memory suddenly felt different. Every birthday gift. Every reassuring smile. Every piece of advice. Had it all been a lie? Before he could think another thought, his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered cautiously. A calm voice said, "Don't trust Michael." The call ended. Daniel quickly packed the camera, hard drives, and letters into his backpack. He drove straight home. But when he reached his apartment, Michael was already waiting outside. He smiled warmly. "There you are." Daniel forced himself to smile. "How did you know I was coming?" "I've been worried about you." Michael stepped closer. "I heard you've been asking questions." Daniel looked into his eyes. For the first time, he saw something he had never noticed before. Fear. Not concern. Fear. "You found the locker, didn't you?" Michael asked quietly. Daniel said nothing. Michael sighed. "I hoped your father had destroyed everything." "So, it was true," Daniel whispered. Michael closed his eyes. "For 20 years, I've lived with this guilt." "You betrayed him." "I didn't know they would kill him. They promised they'd only scare him." Daniel felt tears burning his eyes. "You destroyed our family." Michael's voice cracked. "I've regretted it every single day." Just then, a black SUV stopped beside them. 3 armed men stepped out. One of them shouted, "Take the bag." Michael looked at Daniel. "Run." Without hesitation, Michael stood between Daniel and the armed men. The first shot echoed through the street. Michael fell to the ground. Daniel froze. Michael looked up at him. His voice was weak. "I am sorry. I couldn't save your father. But I can save you." With his last bit of strength, Michael tossed Daniel the car keys. "Go." Daniel jumped into Michael's car and sped away. The men chased him through the city. But this time, Daniel wasn't running in fear. He was protecting the truth. Hours later, he arrived at the office of a trusted investigative journalist. Together, they watched the footage stored on the old camera. It contained everything. Secret recordings, financial records, hidden meetings, names, faces, proof. Enough evidence to expose a powerful criminal network that had operated for decades. Within weeks, the story was broadcast around the world. Arrests began. Officials resigned. Families finally learned the truth. Justice, though 20 years late, had finally arrived. Months later, Daniel visited his father's grave. He placed the old pocket watch beside the headstone. The evening sun painted the sky gold. For the first time since he was 8 years old, he smiled. "I did it, Dad. I finished what you started." A gentle breeze moved through the trees. It almost sounded like a familiar voice. "I'm proud of you, son." Daniel closed his eyes. Maybe it was only the wind. Or maybe, some promises are so powerful that not even death can silence them. The end.